Hey guys, it's me, Wilson, and we're back for another video on F1 22, and we're here for PSGL round 6, I believe it is, at Mexico. And yeah, let's just get straight into it. We're going into quali Q1. 9 minutes left in the session. Didn't show the start of it as usual because it's just, yeah, it's not exciting. It's just sitting in the pits for about 8 minutes before you drive out. But heading into this, we're 8th in the standings, I believe, very close to 5th. Definitely in touching distance. Definitely would have been there if we had a little bit more fortune, but I guess a few could say the same. It's just not been ideal, but it is what it is. These things happen. So yeah, 8th in the standings, I'm pretty sure it is, but pretty close. Not much difference between the cars ahead. But heading into Mexico, pace, it was a tricky one. I wasn't really too sure where I found myself. It was a bit messy. It was one of those tracks where I was doing so much laps, I just kind of forgot what times I was doing and what times I was meant to be doing. And my head was just a little bit scrambled, how quick I was at this track. And yeah, confidence in general was just a little bit lower than I would have liked compared to a track like Belgium, for example. I just wasn't fully there. And on the day, to be honest, I don't know what happened. I just wasn't feeling it. I had not a lot of confidence. I was driving pretty poorly on the day. Not completely worse, like bad. I've drove worse, but yeah, I was just feeling a little bit rough, and I just didn't feel great either physically. So, as the excuses are out the way, that's all I have to say at that. So hopefully it's damage limitation. I genuinely did not think I was going to be through to Q3 going into this, so we're going to have to wait and see if we do get to Q3. For the people who have not watched, going into turn 1 in our Q1 lap. The Q1 grip is very low, as I said last week in Belgium. It is the worst thing you'll ever experience. There's literally no grip. You could feel like you put a good lap together and it will still be slow. But we come up to light as Carter does a 0.6 and we do a 0.3, which is very poor. And yeah, that's not exactly the times we want to be doing on our first lap. And I kind of knew from that point on that we're going to have to go out again. As we come into the pits, and as you can see, P9 in the standings in Q1 so far. And yeah, that's definitely going to have to be us going out again for another lap, which is annoying. We could have easily found a 10th and a half in that lap. You didn't see, obviously, but it was for sure there. And on our second Q1 lap, we're 800, 700 up actually. 0.1 split, not ideal. This point, I'm not going to lie, I was very nervous that I would just mess it up. I did not want to get knocked out of Q1. So I'm taking it a little bit too cautious here. Just making sure I don't destroy the lap as I go wide at the apex. We're only half a 10th up. And we cross the line, it puts us P9. So I was kind of still worried if that would get us through. I was hoping that is enough because we did go out pretty early. But the session timer ends and we're P12. And yeah, not too bad. At least we got through it. We did use 2 sets, which is pretty annoying as the cut-off time, yeah, we could have easily got through without, with just one run if we just didn't drive like an idiot, to be honest. But then we come to the end of our first Q2 lap on fresh tyres, and as you can see, that Haas distracting us a little bit, didn't get in the way, just, yeah, distracting. Tomic does a 0.8, and we do a 0.9, so again, pretty poor lap, a 10th and a half off Tomic, nearly 2 tenths. And yeah, even further off Barry. So I just wasn't really feeling it. You might be able to tell by the face cam. So we're going to need something pretty special, assuming we're going to be knocked out with that time. That's a high 0.9. That's pretty on the edge of the cut-off limit that we were expecting. So going into turn 1 now, we're going to have to put together a pretty tidy lap here. Just not on the limit, but just below it, just to make sure we can get through safely. So going through turn 1, we have left enough time to make sure we can back out and go again, but we do turn 1 and 2 fairly nicely, left a little bit in the table, but again, I'm not pushing fully just because I need to get a lap in, and if I don't, I could be knocked out. It's 0.2 split, and then going through this next sequence of corners, just trying to put it together, not break traction, just a tidy lap, as I said, nothing too extravagant. And then coming into this X section, really easy to mess up. We take a decent amount of curb, not fully on the limit, but it'll do the job. Through here, swinging it in, lifting a little bit more than you would through here just to make sure we make it stick, and we're over a 10th up. So it's looking like a pretty easy lap, as it's a 0.8 mid-split, and this looks like we should be through it if we can just complete the final sector. Coming round the left-hander of the stadium section, looks pretty tidy. Through the right-hander over that bump. Can we hit the apex this time? We still miss a tiny bit, but we hit it fairly well. And that's a 10th.5 up to line. What's it going to be? And it's at 818. Nothing special, but that is enough to see us through to Q3 for the 5th time in PSGL. I believe we've only got knocked out once so far. So qualifying record isn't looking the worst it's been. Not too bad. I believe, you can't see because of my face cam, but I believe that first lap would have actually got us through just by like a few thousands. But no one could have predicted that. Yeah, that's a pretty hard thing to predict. So a little bit annoying there. If we just done a good Q2 lap or in our first run, like a 0.8, we would have easily been through, and we know we would have been through. But yeah, it's quite frustrating in that sense because I was just being a bit silly all qualifying, and that made us put us in a tricky position for Q3, where we're now going on to our final lap with just one fresh set. So we've done one lap already in this session on an old set of tyres, but now yeah, we're having to do this lap on our only fresh set. So it's pretty much one shot queue. We have left it for time for one final run, but yeah, ideally we want to get it done on this run as the tyres will be at their optimum. So nevertheless, it is crunch time in PSGL. Can we put it on the front row? We've not been in the front row yet. Our highest qualifying position has been P4. Qualified P4 twice out of the 5 rounds so far in PSGL. So we're looking to break that good curse. Going into turn 1, just break at the 100-meter board, hitting that apex nicely, and then taking a lot of inside curb on turn 2. We missed the apex a tiny bit of turn 3, but we still get good minimum apex speed, and we're over a 10th up on our old tyre set lap. Going into turn 4, I believe this is, down to 4th gear, hitting this curb nicely to rotate your car. This is a little bit too tight for my liking, but we make it work, and then into this next tricky double right-hander. We do it fairly nicely, try not to break traction on the exit, and now we come up to the tricky X section, turning it in 180 miles an hour, taking a lot of inside curb, flinging it left, right, and then through this right-hander, taking a lot of inside curb. We're a little bit hesitant, and we do not want to ruin this lap, as it's a decent lap so far. It's a 7-8 split, not great, but it's not bad. Going through this right-hander into the final sector now, through this left-hander, taking a lot of entry curb. We take it a little bit too wide, using a lot of inside curb here. The car getting unsettled through the final corner now, trying not to break traction. We have a little bit of a squiggle on the exit. That's going to cost us a little bit of time. Up to the line, it's going to be P1 for now. It's a mid-point 6. And considering our circumstances with only having one fresh set and just not feeling confident all quali, I was very pleased with that. And yeah, that could have been worse, to be honest. We obviously left a little bit of time on the table. I mean, everyone leaves time on the table in the real session usually, but that will sit us in P4 for the race, which we've qualified P4 3 times, I believe now, out of the 6 races. So we've got a 50% P4 rate, which is quite funny. But yeah, not a great lap, not a bad lap. In all honesty, I wasn't completely disappointed with it because I just wasn't feeling confident all quali, and yeah, it wasn't too bad. It done the job, and it puts us in a good position for the race. Hopefully we can fight from here, but Mexico usually seems to be chaos, and we were a little bit cautious of how our setup would react in the race. But we'll see how it goes. We're going to be starting on the hard compound tyre. Keep in mind that starting on this hard tyre, pretty much we have no temperature due to a glitch on the F1 game. We have no temperature, so we are starting on 70 degrees. That's why the formation lap is turned off, as if we do formation lap, the host gets temperature, but we don't. So to be fair for everyone, we're just doing no formation lap. So all drivers have no temperature in their tyres on heavy fuel, hard tyres, 70 degrees. This is going to be very fun, as it was in Belgium. But nevertheless, we're in a good position to get some slipstream off Barry or Freddie. We've got 5 red lights. And away we go. Do we get a good start compared to the cars around us? Trying to minimise wheel spin on these cold tyres can be very tricky. We get a good launch compared to the car behind us. It looks like we're not going to have to do any defending. We can focus fully on the cars ahead, trying to dart for any slipstream we can get. We dart to the left-hand side. We're going to go side by side with Tomic into turn 1. We break extremely late for having such cold tyres, taking a very wide line. And then we've got a corner inside. Tomic manages to get us round the outside, which turns to inside. He has a big snap though. Can we maybe get him? But then we have a big snap as well, which Lucas loses his ground. Now Lucas Blakely, he's on the attack into us, onto turn 4. We choose the inside line, which looks to be the worst line actually, going into that corner. Lucas diving it down the inside, and it's not looking great for us right now. It's been a poor start, apart from the initial launch, and Lucas Blakely looks to be getting us by, and yeah, I just don't fight it, because I know if I go down the inside there, it would just end in disaster, and we just lose a lot of time. But nevertheless, yeah, a bit of a tricky first lap. It didn't really go to plan, and now because of all that battling, we have Brendan Lee on us, so it's not looking ideal. He tries to have a look down the inside. Now going into a stadium section, he actually sends it down the inside. We have to leave space, or as you can see how wide he comes out, it would not have ended well. And now we're vulnerable for the straight, so all that battling has left us pretty vulnerable in this first lap. It's not been ideal, and yeah, I was hoping he would not attack us here, and he doesn't, which I was very thankful of that. Because yeah, we would have been pretty screwed there if he attacked us. It wouldn't have made our life easy. But now Jarno Opmeer coming through on the medium compound tyre. He's going to overtake us pretty easily, and yeah, there's no point in fighting this. His mediums will be much quicker, much more up to temperature as well, which is a very big advantage. And on lap 3 now, we've got Jake Benham. DRS is enabled, but he won't have it until next lap, or midway through this lap. And yeah, he's in the medium compound tyre as well, so we just let him by. Again, no point in fighting it. And we're just trying to focus on our own race, as is Jake and Jarno. And now it's just trying to settle into our rhythm, trying to save tyres, trying to save ERS, and seeing what we can do. But we move on to lap 5 now. Again, just still behind Jake. Jake's not made too much progress on that medium compound tyre. He's been pretty static the last 2 laps. But going into this stadium section, through this right-hander, as you can see, Lucas Blakely actually disconnects, and his AI does not ghost, leaving us in a very tricky position. We get hit on the rear by Lucas Blakely, Brendan Lee even, and yeah, that has completely messed us up. And as much as it's very unlucky for Lucas, it's very unlucky for us, because now we're very out of DRS. His car has just became ghosted, and it's became ghosted in probably the worst time ever. If it came ghosted earlier, we would have been fine, but now we're out of DRS of Jake. Jake's on fresh medium compound tyres, and yeah, it's just not going well. At this point, the mediums are still quicker, so there's a very rare chance we're going to catch. Jake does gap us a bit, and yeah, at this point I have no other choice than to let Brendan by and hope he catches us. And yeah, that's really annoying. As I said, as much as it's unlucky for Lucas, it's messed us up. We had a nice DRS gap to the cars behind. Now they've closed back up. We don't have DRS. We've not got a lot of ERS. And yeah, it's just not went our way as it normally does. And yeah, just a bit of a shame. Just one of those things. And then Brendan managed to pass us. Before that, we had no ERS, and Brendan had a lot more ERS. And yeah, at this point I was feeling pretty miserable. The race is going downhill fairly quickly, I must say. But yeah, Brendan passed us, had tons of ERS, so he was just managed to gap us. And in general, I just, again, didn't really feel comfortable around here. I don't know what it was, but it just wasn't clicking for me, is maybe the way to put it. But going on to lap 16 now, our engineers have called us into the pits, and we're hoping to form some sort of undercut here. We know the undercut can be pretty powerful if you do it right, but the cold tyres on pit exit do make it a little bit tricky. So coming into the pit lane now, going to brake and just make it nicely. And Lucas Blakely follows us in. Same with Valentin, I believe that is. I think so. It's gonna all over the place, that pit place. But we strap on the medium set of tyres, as does everyone else, apart from Valentin, I believe, who goes onto hards. So he's going to have a fun time with that tyre warm-up. We're coming out of the pits, and yeah, tyres are 70 degrees, so we're going to have to warm these up pretty nicely in the hope that we can maybe form some sort of an undercut on the cars ahead of us. So that was the plan, but we'll have to wait and see. And we move on to lap 19, and we didn't really form much of an undercut to any of the cars ahead. And we have Jarno ahead of us on cold hard tyres, but then we have Jake on even colder hard tyres. So we need to get the move on now, or we're going to be stuck behind for quite a while. So trying to get round Jake is going to be pretty difficult. We try the outside, and it doesn't really leave his space. There's not much we can do. And then through here, he's just, yeah, it's not really his fault, because Yeah, it's not really his fault. But if he let us by maybe through going side by side into this X section, we wouldn't have lost DRS and his race would have been fine, I believe, because I would have been able to carry him on and we would have been in DRS. So yeah, he kind of messed us up, and that has ruined our whole strategy. We are still fairly close to Yarno, but he's going to have DRS. We don't have much ERS because of all the fighting at the start. And yeah, that's pretty much written off our race already. It's a shame because it was looking pretty good. It's just a shame that the nature of this track and the nature of Jake's tyres, it just didn't help. It would have helped if Jake let us by, maybe. I guess you can say if buts or maybes. It's always easy in hindsight. But yeah, that's pretty much destroyed our race. Move on to lap 21. Still very close to Yarno, but the DRS is just, yeah, powering him along. If we had DRS, we would be fine, but we don't. And yeah, it's made life very difficult for us. But moving on to lap 22, you can see Jake Benham, he's getting pretty feisty for some reason. I don't really know what he's trying to do, as he's still on the slower compound tyre as of this point in the race. So we're using quite a lot of ERS to try and catch Yarno, and for some reason Jake decides to attack. We defend, because I'm not really sure why he's trying to attack us. We're still quicker. And there it is. Jake overtakes us. And I'm not too sure what happened behind us, as I believe Lucas might have hit Fab as we were going quite slow there. But yeah, a few laps later, I realised Jake was just too slow. He wasn't catching. Again, not really sure why he passed. Maybe he thought he would have been quicker, but yeah, not really. So going into turn 1, we're going to make the move again. Hopefully we can catch Yarno, but you can see Yarno has fell out of DRS, but I feel that gap is way too big now for our tyres to overcome. Our tyres aren't that fresh compared to theirs now, and yeah, that's going to be a pretty difficult gap to try and close. I would say pretty impossible, to be honest with you. There's not much we're going to be able to do with that gap. But moving on to lap 27 now, Lucas Blakely got past Jake, and at this point, we were in a call and we were just like, yeah, you can pass, drag us along. I think Lucas was the quicker car at this point in time, so I was like, go for it, just overtake. I think he had more ERS as well because we were pretty low, and hopefully maybe we can save ERS behind them. And at this point it was pretty known that he was going to be getting a penalty because of pit lane, so yeah, we let him by to charge ERS. But then on lap 32, 4 laps remaining, a safety car comes out.
I'll box. I'm happy to box.
Oh my gosh, I didn't box.
Wilson box soft.
Oh my god, what a shit game!
And as you can see, it was a bit hectic there. We didn't really know what to do, and we decided to pit for the soft tyre. I just listened to what everyone else said around me. I had no clue what I was doing, to be honest. So we strap on a set of old soft tyres. I believe they had 6% on them. And yeah, I wasn't too sure if this was the right call at the time. I was a little bit up and down about it, but I feel like it might have been. We would have been in quite a good position if we stayed out, but yeah, I have no clue if it was a good or bad decision. We just have to stick with our gut and just hope that this is the right one, and trust our engineers, trust Lucas, who pretty much told us to come in as well, and just hope that everything goes well. But now, end of lap 34, it looks like we're going to be going this lap.
Yeah,
the safety car is coming in. Trying to get these soft compound tyres heated up is a nightmare, and I'm sure it's not any easier for the medium runners at all. But you can see it's getting pretty bunched up. For some reason, the game limits your throttle, and it makes it really difficult to wheel spin, as we all slow down massively. And I think a car behind me got damage. I think I got slight damage in the rear wing as well, which made life extremely difficult, because from here on out the car was just horrible to drive. It just had no rear grip, and yeah, I'm pretty sure I got rear wing damage. But Ruben, he now has no front wing pretty much, but now we've got 2 laps of fighting remaining. You can see Lucas Blakely, he's going for some big sends on the 2 cars ahead. Really good moves from Lucas. We've got Carter Lundy ahead of us. He's on the medium compound tyre. Can we make anything work from him? We've got a lot of ERS. I was praying he just wouldn't fight it. I was praying he would just focus on his own race, but he is going to defend. This is going to make our life extremely difficult, so we're going to try and take the wide line to try and cut back on him. But we're going to go round the outside on the softer tyre, on the more heated up tyre. We're going to go round the outside again of the double right-hander, and we make that move stick. Very nicely done indeed. But now, just about to come on to the end of lap 35. 36 now, we go into the last lap. Tomic has a 5-second penalty, but that'll most likely be getting removed as that was an unfair penalty under the safety car. We've got Jake Benham ahead of us, and it's looking like P8 is going to be the best result so far. It's not looking great. We started P4 in this race. It's not looking ideal compared to where we started. We're going to miss these apexes as we're one warning away from a penalty. We need to keep clean, and Jake Benham just ahead. We're pretty low in ARS now. We're giving it everything to try and get this point. Every point is valuable in these bad days. Trying to make everything work. Can we have a look on Jake Benham? We're going to try anything we can do. He is on the hard compound tire. I believe our soft tires are still quicker than him at this point, but it's so hard to make a move. You can see we're right up behind him going into this section again. We cannot get a penalty going through this section. We're so close to him through this X section, falling so well in dirt air, just trying to stay super close to him. And now going into the last sector nearly. No DRS enabled as it was too late. Jake Benham is flashing. He's below 10% as we are. Now going into this next hander. This left hander is our only chance. So we dive it down the inside of Jake. He leaves just enough room. Can we make anything work? Going round the right hander, he leaves us just enough space. We go side by side through the last corner. Can we get enough traction compared to Jake Benham? We have a big slide. Can anything be done of it? And no, it cannot. We finish P9, P8 after penalties, but not a great race for us at all, considering we started where did we start? P4. And yeah, fairly disappointed with that. After penalties, it is P6 though. Post-race penalties, that is. I believe it was Lucas, Brendan and Jake got a penalty each 5 seconds. It's not confirmed, but I did ask the steward and they said it's pretty much confirmed. And yeah, so it's P6. I don't think it'll be P5, maybe P5 if we're lucky, but yeah, realistically P6. And yeah, a bit of an interesting race. I feel like Lucas lagging out really screwed us over. I mean, again, it screwed him over more than it did us. But yeah, it screwed us over pretty badly as it lost his DRS. Then getting stuck behind Jake in on his out lap really messed us up as well. So things just didn't really go our way. Obviously, there's things we can fix as a team, but some things just didn't go well at all. And that's just racing. P6 though isn't too bad. You've got to make the best of the bad days. And in hindsight, let's be honest, it could be much worse than P6. We want to be up there fighting for top 5s every week. But yeah, making the best of the bad days is what matters. And considering that could easily be P9, P10, coming home with P6 is not bad at all. So yeah, I'll take that. It is what it is. These things happen. And I believe that'll bump us up a little bit in the championship standings. And I think we might be closer to the fight for P5 now. But yeah, we will see. Not too sure about that. We'll have to check that out on Twitter when it gets posted. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've been feeling a little bit raspy in the throat today, so sorry if it sounded a bit funny. I don't think it did, but if it did, I'm sorry. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I really appreciate the continuous support on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, everything. I recognise you all. Twitch, trust me, I recognise when you support me, and I really do appreciate it. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Comment if you want, and I'll see you guys in the next one.